Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time. On this week's The Kindness Project, Daems family karaoke, theme songs, and the evidence of abundance. Hi, and welcome to episode 8 of The Kindness Project. We've made it to 8 episodes. Can you believe it, Charlotte? So I don't know what that noise was, but that's a girl who gets her singing voice directly from her dad. It's Charlotte.
And that's the man who loves books so much he works above a library. Chris Daems.
You know what? For somebody like me, having my office above a library is very decent. Ideal. And when we first moved in there, I've got a business. We moved into the library. We've been there probably close to a year now. And actually, it's an ideal office space and one that I made the most of. Like the first 3 months, I was like sort of getting 4 books at a time. I've gone back to my regular Amazon habit of buying books now, and I probably need to make the most of go back to the library because you can order books from the library, can't you?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I need to find out.
You can ask them to get books in for you.
Yeah.
And
there's got to be a limit to that, though, right? If I walked in and went, I want 30 books, they're not gonna turn around and automatically order them for me, are they?
Yeah, it's not like that. It's more like if it's a book they don't have.
Yeah.
Then they can order it for the library to have.
Yeah, smart. Okay, well I'll have to check that out. And how you been? You been all right?
Yeah.
Cool. Bit of a general question, but
a general question that I generally don't know the answer to.
Okay, so shall we start this podcast with getting our Twitter handles and website right? I mean, I don't know. It's just an idea. It's another one for this podcast, but should we give it a go?
I think we tried that last time, and you kept criticising my pronunciation.
Okay, we'll try and get it right this time. Shall I do Twitter and you do email, or should we do it the other way around?
You do the email, because I don't know the email.
Okay, so let me start with an explanation. So we do this podcast just to spread a little bit of kindness and a few good news and kindness stories in the world, to make sure that everybody understands that most people are generally good, and actually the news stories that we hear tend to be bad news as opposed to good news. And actually we think there's plenty of kindness that goes on, we just probably don't talk about it enough. But we're reliant on hearing your kindness stories, so we'd like to hear from you. So you can email us at holla, H-O-L-A, at thekindnessproject.co.uk. And our Twitter, you can get in touch with us on Twitter.
Hola! Shush!
Hola! Hola, kindness! Hola, kindness, how you doing, guys?
Hola, kindness.
Yeah.
H-O-L-A, kindness.
It's H-O-L-A, kindness. And we've got a Facebook group as well.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, which we haven't talked about so far, but you can find us. Now, I can't remember the best way to find the Facebook group, if I'm being honest, but if you go to the Kindness Project website, www.thekindnessproject.co.uk,
There should be links to it on there.
There should be links to it on there, so you should be able to
Are we going to do our individual handles, or are we just going to stick with the...
Up to you, what do you think? Do you think people need to know our individual handles?
I mean, we've done them every episode so far.
Let's do them again then.
You go first.
My individual Twitter handle is at Chris, C-H-R-I-S, Daems, D for Delta, A for Alpha, E for Echo, M for meringue, S for sandwich.
You just changed the last two up.
I like to play with the phonetic alphabet. It's just one of the things I do.
I don't really use the phonetic. I just say the letters.
Go on then.
So, at C-H-A-R-L-O-T-T-E-J, Daems, D-A-E-M-S.
That is awesome. And again, we've been having some really good questions of the podcast. And it seems to be just purely through curiosity. We have an official question of the podcast.
And an unofficial.
And then probably about 12 unofficial ones. And we want to hear your answers to them. So some of the official ones we've had is, if you were the supreme ruler in the world, what would be the first rule you'd put in place? And Charlotte, your answer to that was pick somebody else to be the supreme ruler.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the worst answer in the
I
world.
don't think I trust myself to rule the whole world. I think I'd probably pick someone who is okay with the responsibility of, I don't know, all of humanity's safety.
You just don't want the hassle, do you? That's the thing. I can't be bothered.
I've got all my schoolwork to do. You want me to rule the world on that?
Yeah, and you've got a podcast to record now as well. So, if you could be a character from one of your favourite books, what would it be? And the most deep and philosophical question we've asked so far.
Let me see if I can figure out what this one is. What is your favourite egg dish?
Absolutely right. What's your favourite use of an egg? But we've got a question of the week this week, and it is because we've got such supreme singing voices. I mean, honestly, Daems Family Karaoke. We do this thing on a Friday night.
Oh God, yes.
Called Daems Family Karaoke, and literally, I'm surprised the neighbours haven't called the police because it sounds like
Mine's not bad.
mine is.
Mine and Mum's aren't bad. So
It's just me.
yeah, it's you.
Listen, my rendition of Human
Which we hear every week.
by Rag and Bone Man ain't bad in parts. There's other parts that ain't good, but that's not the point. But the official question of the week is, if you could pick one song to sing perfectly, what would it be?
I think I'd pick a song that has multiple voices in it.
Okay.
Because then I could kind of prove to people, like, I can do more than one kind of singing style.
What do you mean multiple voices?
Like multiple singing styles.
Okay.
Like an elegant bit and a rap bit or something. Something, like, controversial, you know?
Like Bohemian Rhapsody, no?
Yeah, sort of.
Or elegant and rap. What are you
I
thinking?
don't know, I'm just thinking...
Like Empire State of Mind or something like that.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
I think
but
I'd probably pick a theme song, actually, because honestly, I love theme songs and I love singing them to myself, and I love singing
But
along.
you and I know that theme songs were better in the 80s than they are today. I mean, the theme tune to Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, Dead Cares Away.
Worries for another day, let the music play. Down to Fraggle Rock. It can't be beaten. Can't be
Too
beaten.
catchy.
Yeah. What's that Japanese show that you yokai watch?
Oh,
That's got a good theme tune. That's got a good theme tune. But what song would you pick?
I'd probably pick the Steven Universe theme song.
Okay, so that's
Because, not the short one, the long version.
Okay.
Because, honestly, that song is about... I know this sounds really philosophical for a kids' show, but it is actually quite philosophical. It's about... The theme song, the extended version, it's about a bit where it tells you what each of the characters is fighting for. So there's one character and she's fighting, because she's actually two characters but in one, and she's fighting to be who they are together.
Okay.
Where they're not allowed to be that on their home planet.
Okay.
There's one of them and they're fighting for the person they love who died.
So it's cheerful theme song, yeah?
It's actually got a really catchy melody. There's one of them who fights because they were made on this planet.
Right.
And there's one of them who wants to make everyone else proud. So
they've all got different motivations.
They've all got different motivations.
And they were singing about what drives them as individuals, yeah?
And it's all about how, honestly, they will fight for what they believe in, for what they think. One of my favourite lines is the bit about the character who is the two characters, because her line is, I will fight for the place where I'm free to live together and exist as me. And it's
cool.
Sort of.
So it's about independence and it's about living as your own person.
Yeah.
And
But
not having to compromise.
Because she's two people. She's also got a song in it, and the chorus goes a little something like it. It's called Stronger Than You. But the chorus is something like this. It's all about her, how she is made as one person but two. And the chorus literally repeats the line, made of love, and it's stronger than you. So basically saying that their love is stronger than one individual person.
Awesome, love it. So it's the Steven Universe theme tune you'd have.
Yeah.
See, my explanation's shorter, right? But probably as personal. So when your mum and I were first dating, we had a song, and it was a Tony Bennett song that your mum absolutely loved. Frank Sinatra's done it, Tony Bennett's done it, but your mum loves the Tony Bennett version, and it's called The Way You Look Tonight. And if I could sing that perfectly, obviously I can do Human, Rag and Bone Man, but if I could sing The Way You Look Tonight perfectly, and I can probably do an alright job, but you've heard me sing, and alright's a variable standard. But if I could sing that perfectly, that would be awesome. So, listeners, you've got a chance to sing a song absolutely perfectly. what song would you pick? So, after chatting about all that sort of stuff, should we get on with the Kindness Project?
Let's go.
Hi and welcome back to one of my favourite parts of the podcast. Not only because we share really good stories of kindness that we've read in the newspapers, but also because it's probably got the most awesome jingle of the entire podcast. Take it away, Charlotte.
Kindness news.
So, what stories of kindness have you got that you've read in the news this week?
Okay, so celebrities including Stormzy, Russell Crowe, Dawn French, and Jason Manford have stepped up to.
It's Jason Manford again. Is it? Jason Manford is making like a regular appearance in this podcast.
Okay, have stepped up to wish a bullied 9-year-old a happy birthday. The boy's dad tweeted on Thursday the 29th of June to appeal to celebs and well-known people to send his son, Ollie, a positive birthday message.
Because he was being bullied, right?
Christopher said a bully keeps putting his son down and telling him his birthday wouldn't be good. I would love someone to tell my son he does mean something and bullying is not okay. So I've got some of the replies here.
Go on, read them out.
Strange.
What did Jason Manford say? Our mate Jason, what did he say? No, tell us anybody. What did Stormzy say?
Okay, within a couple of hours, the dad's initial tweet was retweeted more than 5,000 times. Within 24 hours, it had more than 10,000 retweets.
Cool.
Celebrities, well-known people, sports people, actors and actresses, comedians, TV presenters, and blogging stars
Any
sent
gardeners in
sent touching words to Ollie.
Any celebrity chefs?
So Stormzy, happy birthday, Ollie, you're a little legend. Don't watch the bullies. They'll always end up being the biggest waste later in life. Hi,
that
Chris.
is true, though. I mean,
Hi, Chris. Saw your message. I'm not really famous, but still your Leeds based, so please send Ollie a big happy birthday from a Leeds Olympian, Tom Bosworth.
Okay, cool.
Russell Crowe, hey Ollie, heard it was your birthday. 9 years old, eh?
I am Maximus.
No,
Maximilius.
9 years old, eh? Congratulations, happy birthday. And then his mum.
Yeah.
She.
Who, Russell Crowe's mum?
No, no, the boys.
The boy's
mum.
The boy's mum.
Hi, I'm Ollie's mum. I don't tweet and always go on at him for spending too much time on Twitter. However, this time I'm battling with this matter for over a year.
What, the matter of the bullying in the
Yeah.
school?
And she basically just thanked all the people who had retweeted.
You still haven't told me what Jason Manford.
I didn't
the
actually
man,
write it
the
down.
legend.
I didn't actually
Jason,
write it down.
Oh no.
There was literally 3 pages of tweets. I just screenshotted the first one.
Gotcha. So that shows the positive potential power
Yeah, but
of
those
social
3
media.
pages, that was probably only a fraction
Yeah.
of what celebrities responded to that
Yeah.
message.
Yeah.
And that's still 3 pages of tweets.
Yeah. How do you think that made him feel?
Probably a lot better about himself.
Gotcha.
And also, it may have stopped the. I mean, with all the famous people who have tweeted to.
I tell you what, if Russell Crowe's on my side, I don't think I'd like. I'd if I was a bully and like Gladiator was gonna. Or even Stormzy. Stormzy's a bit of a fella, isn't he? So again, it shows the power of these new platforms to reach out, which I love, because we hear so much about the negativity and the negative use of these platforms, but actually they can be used for a lot of good. But in addition to that, hopefully he feels a lot better about his situation. And to get Russell Crowe's mum. Oh no, sorry, it wasn't Russell Crowe's mum. It was the boy's mum.
It was his mum.
It was his mum. I wonder if Russell Crowe's mum is on Twitter. I don't know. But good on all the celebrities for reaching out and doing something really cool to help a 9-year-old boy. Have you got any other stories for us this week?
I thought you were going to do one.
I'm going to save my one for next week because I have got an awesome one, but I probably need a bit of time to tell you about it.
I've got a couple of long ones, so...
Okay, well, we'll do them in future weeks. So that's it for Kindness News next week. This week, next week, this week, next week. We'll see you next time. So, Charlotte, we've spoken before on the Kindness Project about news and how the majority of news is actually bad news.
Yes, it's very negative.
And we think on the Kindness Project that we should highlight stories of good news.
Yes.
And part of our Kindness News, which you love doing, is, I forgot the cough at the start, is making sure that people are aware that actually there's loads of really good stuff going on there, despite everything you hear. Now, I've got a lot of respect for a guy called Peter Diamandis. Have you ever heard of him?
No, I have not.
And he, thanks to Brett Davidson actually for pointing this out to me on Facebook. But Peter Diamandis is an author. He's a entrepreneur. He's a business owner. But also he's a guy who is obviously a optimistic individual who believes in the power of good. And what Peter Diamandis has done is just done a little ebook, and I'll put a link to the show notes to the ebook, called The Evidence of Abundance. And this ebook effectively says the world is far better than you think it is, and here's the evidence to prove it. So what I'm going to do is show you some of the things that I'll show you, but we'll talk about it for our listeners. But certainly I'll put a link in the show notes so that you can download the document anyway. And the document starts by saying, we are in the midst of a drug epidemic. The drug, negative news, the drug pushers, the media. So he's saying that actually we're dependent on that influx of negative news, and we're giving it to the media. So this isn't a fake news Donald Trump thing. This is a more, can't we focus more on the positive? And what Peter Diamandis does is give a bunch of examples of how the world we live in today is actually a far better place compared to the world we live in yesterday. I know that I get nostalgic about when I was growing up, but if I look at it realistically, the world today is a far better place than it was.
There's more technology, for one.
There's more technology, and I'm going to be talking about technology, but first, let's talk about health. So health, no matter where you live in the world, mortality rates have dropped precipitously over the last 300 years. And effectively what that means is we're more likely to live longer. In India, in the last 100 years, life expectancies tripled. Tripled. So you're likely to live 3 times longer in India than you would have done 100 years ago.
Seriously?
That's an incredible statistic, isn't it? South Korea's life expectancies has quadrupled.
What, times 4?
Times 4. And it's now higher than the UK. So wherever, regardless of where you live in the world, life expectancy, the amount of time you will have to live is going up and up and up and up. And I'm reading an interesting book called The 100-Year Life that talks about the fact that you and Sophie, the odds of you living to 100 are significantly better than generations past. So plenty of time, Charlotte.
I will outlive you all.
Not all, maybe not Sophie. But also, in addition to that, look at the innovations in health. And Peter Diamandis shares the fact that last month a robot dentist in China successfully implanted 3D printed teeth into a female patient's mouth. Now, half of that sentence 30 years ago would have made no sense. A robot dentist.
What's that robot?
Well, no, Charlotte, we had robots 30 years ago, but we didn't have...
You sure?
I'm not that old. What are you trying to say? But we didn't have any robot dentists, and certainly we didn't have 3D printers. So the fact that we can 3D print medical equipment to help people's dental health makes sense. It talks about virtual reality when it comes to health as well. VR is also entering the operating room. In July 2017, University of Minnesota doctors used VR to prepare for a challenging non-routine surgery. So they set the actual operation up in VR so they could...
Oh, cool.
How cool is that? So you can train effectively in a non-life-threatening place. So that's really good. Let's talk about the environment. So even though we're having challenges politically about the environment, the fact is that we are making more progress now than we were 30 years ago. I think there's still challenges with that. However, the other thing we've done as well is that the global annual death rate from natural disasters, droughts, earthquakes, volcanic activities, storms, is at an all-time low. And the reality is, in sort of between 1949 and 1929, hundreds of thousands of people died through drought. And now that number is incredibly low. This was a really interesting one for me, and I'll use Afghanistan as an example. Just in the year 2000, start of the new millennium, very little people in Afghanistan had access to electricity. Now it's over 80%. So people in countries where traditionally they wouldn't have had any access to power are now in a position where they're getting more access to power than ever before.
Surprises me the fact that not 100% of them had access to power.
Yes.
2000s.
Yeah, certainly. But bear in mind the size of China, there will be sort of a bit of a difference. But look at India. India in 1990 had just over 40% of people who had access to electricity, and now it's just under 80. So there's still work to do, but certainly stride forward in such a short space of time. And food. Undernourishment in developing countries is at an all-time low. It's incredible the amount of work that's being done. So actually we live in, even though...
developing world.
Well, even though the stories are quite scary, you read, the reality is we are making great advances in innovation, in progress, in feeding the world, in providing the world with power, in a bunch of different areas that potentially we wouldn't know about because the news doesn't tell us. And I remember reading something, it's not in this report, and I'll make sure there's a link in the show notes. Even though we might turn on the news and see terrorism on the news or violence on the news, actually the world today, in terms of terrorism and violence, is a far safer place than it was 30 years ago.
Oh.
So I think my act of kindness, our act of kindness today, is to, number one, share the awesome work that Peter Diamandis has did, and we'll make, as I say, we'll make sure we put that in the show notes, but just also to highlight the world, despite all the negative news,
isn't all that bad.
Is a pretty awesome place. So Charlotte, we've reached the end of another Kindness Project podcast.
Woo-hoo!
But as you know, we never ever finish, just that's it. We've got a couple of bits to tie up, because the first bit we've got to tie up is...
last week's question in the podcast, answered this week, answered last week, asked last week.
Absolutely right. I don't know what week we're on now, but last week's question in the podcast was...
favourite bits of trivia?
What's your favourite piece of trivia? Now, I can officially say, listeners, that my mind has been absolutely blown by the... I think mind blown is a bit of an overused term, but we'll read out some of these facts, and listeners, tell us whether you knew this stuff. So first, John Cook, Cookie commented, obviously it's Reg Farney being the first person to use a bank machine, and that's one we mentioned before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna. So I went back to Cookie and went that we need another question of the we need another answer to your favourite piece of trivia, and he said J.M. Barrie, the writer of Peter Pan, invented the name Wendy.
What?
Did you know that?
No.
So that's one. Number two, what were the last words ever spoken on the moon? Now, you're reading it now, so I know you know. But the last words spoken on the moon were, "Let's get this mother out of here!" Now, I'm not sure whether they said it like that, but I think they might have done. Mikey Fitzgerald come back and said, Charlotte...
Scampi aren't prawns. They are
langoustine. So that is a great one. That's a great tip. But apparently Mikey only found out that 2 months ago. Victor told us you can't lick your elbows.
I fell down the stairs.
So you tried to lick your elbows once and fell down the stairs. How did that happen?
I was sitting at the top of the stairs trying to lick my elbows, and the force from swinging my elbow back rolled me down the stairs.
Why were you trying to do it at the top of the stairs?
Well, I was walking along trying to lick my elbow, thinking it's perfectly safe.
Were you walking down the stairs licking your elbow?
Then I sat down and I thought it'll be more comfortable to try and do it sitting down, and then I swung my arm back and fall a drop.
That's a story I didn't expect to hear. I tried licking my elbow and fell down the stairs. Russ come back. So Russ came back with a couple of interesting ones. 10% of all people who have ever lived are alive today, and this is a bit of a scary one, and may stop me eating certain foods. Plants can hear themselves being eaten. That can't be right. None of these are verified, by the way. Kathy said the Queen does not own all the swans. I thought she did, but she doesn't. Phil Young, this is an awesome one. Broccoli was invented. So this one made me jump on Wikipedia and go, how did they invent broccoli? And apparently it was a combination of two crops that they...
Was it like cauliflower and Brussels sprouts or something?
Something like that. But yeah, broccoli was actually invented. One from Robbie Wright. Monkeys open bananas from the opposite end of humans.
I knew that.
And officially my favourite one, in 1957... there were 170 registered Elvis impersonators. In 2007, there were 200,000. If this trend continues, by 2057, a third of the world's population will be Elvis impersonators. And I've only got one thing to say to Kelly for that awesome fact. Thank you very much. You want to read out the next one?
The Justin Gaffney
said...
the dogs map their world through scent, not vision.
And Karina Murray, and again, this is another brilliant one, ketchup was sold as a medicine long before it was a condiment.
I have a friend who eats pure ketchup. It is awful.
For medicinal reasons or just because they like it?
Just because they like it.
I don't get that.
They put it on pancakes before and it just made me go... I went to Vegas once. Do you remember when I went to? You was only young. I went to Vegas with my friends, and my mate Doug Joy, who we're off to see in a few weeks, so that'd be good. He lives in Jersey now. But my mate Doug had sweet pancakes, got these sachets thinking they were jam, and just spread. No, it was the other way around. He had bacon and eggs and sausage. Opened these sachets thinking they were ketchup and actually put jam all over his fried breakfast. He'll appreciate me telling that story. Doug's come up with a financial advisory related piece of trivia by the day. Do you want to read it out? The rule of 72, all the financial advisors know this. Divide 72 by the interest rate achieved on an investment, and the answer is the number of years it will take your initial investment to double.
That's true. And Damien Davis has been another elbow and wrist related one. The distance between your elbow and wrist is the same as your foot. Great way to check if shoes fit. On the same lines, the distance between your hands held horizontally to sides is the same as inside leg. So a great way to check if trousers fit. However, don't test any of those theories while you're sitting on the stairs, Charlotte, because I don't want you falling down. Cassie's got involved, my wife's got involved, and said Hackney carriages take their name from the French word hackney. Oh no, we've gone to dodgy accent territory. Hackney, meaning a horse available for hire. And one last one, Martin McNamara. Dartmoor was at one time, the most populous part of Britain until the 18 years of reign. I think it was in 1100 BC. So my mind is officially blown. What's your favourite piece of trivia we've had there?
No, there's a couple of bits on there.
I like medicinal ketchup.
Yeah.
I love medicinal ketchup. But the one I like, and I'm not sure whether the stats ring true on this, but in 30 years' time, a third of the world are going to be Elvis impersonators. I'm sure. I've got a funny feeling that trend is downward now, but even so, a third of the world.
I'm pretty sure a third of the world's going to be Michael Jackson impersonators. Like all the Elvis impersonators will go, oh no, Michael Jackson songs are more popular, and just start impersonating Michael Jackson.
Yeah, but Michael Jackson in 50 years' time won't sort of be popular, will it?
Then people will start
somebody else. It'll be Will I Am.
No, I know.
A third of the world being Justin Bieber impersonators. I can't think of anything worse. Anyway, and if a third of the world were Michael Jackson impersonators, that's bad. Anyway, right. So we did have some kindness stories of the week, and the first one I want to read out is actually from the editor of the Kindness Project podcast. Russ, he shared his own little story of kindness. Mum, who's my mum as well, because Russ is my brother, was unwell and her friends wanted to cancel important appointments to make sure she was okay, regardless of getting their own health matters seen to. I thought that was selfless. Last year, and also this happened, last year when Kelly broke her shoulder after a fall at the top of the estate, maybe she was checking her elbow and she was at the top of a set of stairs. A lady whose house she fell outside of waited with her in the cold with a baby. When she called to get the dog, she called out to get the dog. Janet went over the road, came out to see Kelly on the floor. He was 80-ish and spent about an hour to get her up. And when I got back there, he was walking her back to the house. And I think that proves that people are thoroughly decent human beings because, you know, regardless of age or gender or anything, just helping somebody out in need is awesome. But people are appreciating our work on the podcast because guess what? We've had our first iTunes review.
Oh, cool! How many have we got up on iTunes now?
We've got a few podcasts on iTunes, but this is our first review, and it's a 5-star. And I'll let you read it out.
I cannot read that username.
Getting on a bit 57.
Is 57 the age, or?
I don't know if 57 is the age or the year that they were born, but we'll have to wait and see. 2
minutes in, and I can't stop smiling and laughing. Positive energy personified. Great effort, team kindness. And then there's one of those winky face emoticons, not emojis, emoticons and emojis.
It's a winky face emoticon. So I'm trying to work out what one of our relatives who's who's listened to the podcast
or one of your Twitter followers.
Or one of my Twitter followers.
One of my Twitter followers.
It could be anybody.
No, all my Twitter followers are your Twitter followers.
Okay, it could be. But certainly, thank you, Getting On a Bit 57, because you are the Kindness Project. You are the Kindness Project's first ever iTunes reviewer. But we'd like some more, people. So please feel free to leave us a really nice comment if you like the podcast on iTunes. You can find our iTunes page on www.thekindnessproject.co.uk, or feel free to share your stories of kindness at our Twitter profile.
Hola kindness.
Hola kindness.
Oh my god, that's a dodgy accent.
or you can email us at hola HOLA at thekindnessproject.co.uk. So that's it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed it, Charlotte.
Yep.
Good. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.